Lesley was saying that she has taught the group, because they were so good, she's taught the group 2 dances, so they've actually done a double slot here, and they're going to do both routines. I've just been told to tell you that these are total beginners. Some of them have not danced in public before, and I guess this is a little bit of an ordeal for them. So let's give them a sympathetic welcome. So Northumberland and Durham Hornpipe. you. Let's give another round of applause because they're beginners, they've never done that before. Thank you very much. Now moving on to the other end of the spectrum, we've got an advanced group. Clogs or hard-soled shoes with taps, a quick-step routine from Burton. Or about 60 years ago, this dance about 60 years old with Alex Woodcock. And a round of applause. Now you go.
Clog workshop. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're now going back to the beginners again. This is John Walford's previous group. Hardly annual every year. He starts people off with this entertaining hobby of club dancing with steps from the Lake District. And I don't know whether John wants to say a word about them. He probably does.
Always have a few words to get me started. Another absolute beginners, as most people here will remember. Lakeland is very unfair because we only do the steps on the left foot, they don't repeat on the right, so for practice, purely practice, we're doing everything twice, start on the left foot. And yeah, oh, we're all ready, I think, so we're going.
On 2, that's better. Okay, thank you very much then, John, and thank you to your class. Moving on to another member of the Reading Cloggies, Peter Clifton, with his group doing Sam Sherry's exhibition Hornpipe, and I guess we need a group, a class. Right. Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you very much for that class. Absolutely brilliant, and they were graced with Sam as well. Sam came in to join in with the class. And now I'm not sure if Sam is around. Is he still here? Thank you very much then, Sam. This is Sam Sherry. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you, Sam. Right, Ian Dunmur had a class of Lakeland steps. And I think he might tell you a little bit about what they are, whether they're the ragtime version or whether they're the 17-step exhibition version. I don't know.
No, neither do I. There were about 2 dozen of us, but some had to go away for dinner parties and things like that. And some were just travelling a long way. So we're not quite so many now, but yeah, this is the Lakeland Hornpipe. I don't know anything about those. Oh, these are improvers, by the way. I don't know what you'll think about that, but much improved.
Ian Dunmur with his much improved improvers. Thank you very much. Right, we're coming over to, well, I guess a long way from here, Cape Breton, up in the northeast of Nova Scotia, Canada, doing some Cape Breton Strathspey steps and reel steps, and the musician is Nina Barrell, and we need the rest of the class for the Cape Breton step dancers, traditional dancing, collected from Jackie Dunn, and then Tignish, and never pronounce it, Tignish. Sorry? There were 2 dozen in the group. We need more than 2 dozen. Yeah. round of applause for those people who are doing that. And Lynn has one taker, two takers, three. Wow, there were more than that. You had 9, yes. And Keith Holloway playing. You'll see Keith later on tonight at the barn dance. It's part of his band. Okay, as Lynn said, let's be relaxed. Off you go. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lynn. Thank you very much, Keith, and thank you to her group. I believe, was that the full sequence, Lynn? Lynn, was that the full sequence? Was that the full sequence? Right, that was the full sequence of 12 steps, 10 steps, but all just off one foot. Right, okay, thank you very much. Moving to the other side of the country now, gentleman that we haven't had here before, Trevor Monson, who's a renowned Welsh clog dancer. He does dance over lighted candles and snuffs them out with the heels of his clogs, but not today. He and his group have been working on broom dancing and with Bob Fit playing, so thank you, Trevor. Do you want to say a few words? I thought you did.
Right, I'll say a few words because I don't think you've had Welsh clog dancing here before. It's basically a solo dance, or maybe two men in competition with each other. This is my competition with about 20 odd of us for a solo dance. We've all learned a pile of steps. There's no set dance. It's a collection of steps that you put together. So at the end of the afternoon, this is what we've tried to put together to actually fit into the hole that we thought we might have the room for. Thanks very much.
Trevor Monson's group, the Compere, Welsh Clog Broom dancing. Let's give him another round of applause. What a spectacular performance. And that is the very first time that Trevor has done a workshop. That's great. Let's give him another round of applause. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Bob. Now we move on across the Atlantic Ocean to New England, to the Marley family, to Rockville in Connecticut, and to a lovely routine, this one. It's never been taught in this country before. It's the Marley military with Kari Smith and Paul Eric playing, and this is the Marley military routine. Thank you, Kari. Thank you very much, Paul Eric. I have to let you into a little secret that Kari and Paul Eric paid their own way to come over here to teach that. So thank you very much, Kari. Thank you, Paul Eric. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And we hope to see you again. Thank you. Now, moving back to this country, there's a young lady by the name of Pat Tracey, who had a group doing mixed rhythm clog dancing of all the different traditional styles of Lancashire where she was born and brought up. So John Dixon playing, and I guess she needs a few people to join in with her. They're congregating over by the door. This looks like a little bit of choreography, so we'll give them a round of applause as they come in. Are you ready? Okay, Pat Tracey's mixed rhythm Lancashire group. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very difficult workshop, dancing to mixed rhythms. Thank you very much. Now moving back across the Atlantic to Rockville in Connecticut with Tony Barrand and his wife Margaret Gale. They too have paid their own way to come over here. And this is a repeat of last year's successful workshop of the Marley buck and wing routine. And I believe there may be a few visitors to your workshop showcase, Tony, because you have some of your past students from last year who said, could they join in?
Kari and Clog, Kari and Clog here too.
Kari and Clog. While they're getting ready, Tony and Brett, I guess Brett Krause isn't here because he's preparing, but the lecture this evening will be all about the collection, well, the discovery and the collection of traditional clog dancing in America, with a particular emphasis on the Marley family. You will see slides of clog dancing like you have never seen before. So the lecture will be well worth seeing. Okay, so the buck and wing by Anna Marley from Rockville in Connecticut.
So, just get somewhere you can sit, I'll get the thing back.
Sorry, I was going to do without it, but instead of having a sign that says kick me, they insisted on me having a list of the steps in the back. Unfortunately, they become emotional cripples.
I'm sorry if that wasn't politically correct.
Clogs all day. Just wanted to check. Right, here we go. 1, 2. Oh.
Thank you very much, Tony, and thank you, Margaret Dale, and thank you to Andy Johnson for playing piano. Let's give him another round of applause. We're going to superb. We need to move on to the Appalachians now, and I was watching their workshop in here, and it really looks interesting. They were playing and dancing to all sorts of music. So wherever Jay and Geoff is and his Appalachian group, we've got some big circle mountain dancing, some flat footing, and lots of other exciting things. Perhaps he wants to tell you what they are.
Right. This has been a fairly loose form workshop because the emphasis has been on the individual dancers to do their own thing. There's no set routine we've actually set out to learn or teach them, apart from an end sequence which we'll do. We've been teaching sort of mountain square dance figures, which tend to be visiting couple figures, and you can also do them, other than the square dance, do them in circles of 4 around the edge of the floor, sort of Sicilian circles we call it. So most of these figures are from Virginia, and lots of them have been pinched out of Bob Dulcimer's, Bob Dulcimer's book of
mountain square dances, and there's some Kentucky figures in here as well. Alright, so this is cooled, most of this as well, so I have to keep my mouth going. Is everybody here? Yes. You all stiff? Yes. Okay, we'll get the music going. Circle round to the left. Back to the right, single file. Face your partner, grand chain. When you meet your own, swing them. Couple up, 4 hands round you go. Back to the right. Odd couple, mount to the loop. And the other way back. Circle up 4. And back to the right. Odd man, shoot the buffalo. And the other way, shoot buffalo, even man. Circle up 4, and on to the next you go. And back to the right. Evens arch, 4-leaf clover. Round you go. You swing yours, I'll swing mine. Circle 4. Go back to the right. Back to the left and on to the next. Two ladies, join hands, 8 hands over to a basket. You break that ring with an opposite swing. Swing your opposite. Swing your partners. Join hands, circle round to the left. And on to the next you go. Circle. Gents with an elbow swing, right, 1.5. To your opposite round, gents on the right, your partner left, the ladies right, opposite left, the ladies right, partner left, swing your partners, join hands and circle left, lead out to one big ring. Round the edge of the floor, circle left. Steve, break to the line. Ladies, are you ready? Ladies, first solo.
Right, Geoff, Cubitt and Big Circle Appalachian mountain dancing, brilliant. Okay, the final act, let's give them another round of applause. Thank you very much. And,